Hello, this is Tiger6 and today I want to show you how to create some decals for your tanks in War Thunder Ground Forces. Before we start, make sure to install the War Thunder CDK from the official webpage. Then you open the Assets Viewer 2 and you are looking for the pkg_tanks_tanks folder. In that folder you find all tanks which are currently in game. For this example we search for the Panzerkampfwagen 4 Ausführung F and we modify the turret_C. You notice the different endings of the textures. You have the _AO, which I don't know what it does, the _N, which is for the reflection and the lightning, and the _C, which are the textures we want to modify. When you start, you get mainly this view of the texture. And because the export function isn't working at the moment, we need to take some screenshots and paste them in GIMP to modify the texture. For project we need two layers. For one, the RGB layer and the alpha layer. Let's start with the RGB layer. Select it on the right and uncheck the stretch texture checkbox so that you get the texture in high resolution. Now we scroll to the top and click the texture name on the left again to make the yellow border disappear. Now we press Alt Print to take a screenshot and open a new project in GIMP with a size which is displayed here on the right. For this video I have already done it, and now we can paste it with Ctrl V. Now we make it to a new layer so that we can move it and align it with the top left corner. After we finished it, we need to take a second screenshot of the bottom of the texture, and as before we press Alt Print for the screenshot and Ctrl V to paste it in GIMP. Now we have to align it with the bottom of our project in GIMP. As you see, this is a little bit of work and puzzling. Now we move the newly created layer on the second position so that the top and the bottom are puzzled together. Now we can make one layer with the two and cut it to the picture size. Now we have finished our RGB layer. Now we have to do this whole process for the alpha layer again. You have to check the alpha checkbox in the Assets Viewer and also take two screenshots and make a separate layer for the alpha one. For this tutorial I already have made it. So you see on the top is the RGB layer and on the bottom the alpha layer. Now you see my finished work. I put some decals on the RGB layer and I also edited the alpha layer. As you see here, you have to put black regions on the places which are the decals on the same spots as your decals are on the RGB layer, because only black spots on the alpha layer are displayed in game. The white areas are covered with the camouflage, which is stored separately. To combine our work, we copy the RGB layer with Ctrl C in a new project and make it to a new layer, delete the default background and add a mask to our RGB layer. The options which you can choose doesn't matter which one you decide to use. Now we copy our alpha layer also with Ctrl C and paste it on the mask. You have to select the mask with a click and then you press Ctrl V and the two layers are merged together. This is basically how you edit your texture. You see the areas which you have put some decals on are covered with transparent regions, which is good. And now we can start exporting our work. our user skins folder, and there we have to select the proper folder. Interesting that you don't need to name your folder the template Germ Panzer 4. You can name it whatever you want, because the BLK inside the folder makes clear for which tank the texture is usable. So you can put more folders in your user skins folder for the same tank, and you can select from the drop down in game which texture you want to use. Now we export the texture we created and name it correctly, Panzerkampfwagen _IV _Ausführung _F, and press export. Yes. And you should not check the RLE compression, since it leads to performance losses and crashes on some clients. You can let the settings as they are and press export. After you have exported the texture, you need to modify the custom BLK file, and you have to add your created texture. As for the turret, you need to add these lines to the BLK. I may zoom in so that you can see. I also put the text in the description below. And as for the body, you can also replace it with additional 3 lines. Now let's look in game how our decals look like. Now we are in game, and just look at this awesome decals which we put on our tank. And as I mentioned before, you can create different folders in your user skins folder in War Thunder, and you can switch your skins inside the game. This is a newly created skin of the Hungarian army I created for the Panzerkampfwagen 4. And yes, this is the 5th Panzer Division, Heeresgruppe Mitte, which we created a turret in the tutorial. So I hope you could understand what I'm trying to say, and I'm looking forward to see your skin creation, guys.